right, so I have something interesting today, and it's going to be a one-time thing because I'm actually going to ship this whistle off uh, tomorrow. I'm sending it back. Um, I try to be so. One of the things that I really enjoy about whistle design is the difference in tonal, the different. I just like the differences in designs, how subtle changes can make, and relationships. You can kind of see how some whistles mimic characteristics of other whistles. Um, and last year, I'd never heard of O'Riordan whistles before, but I heard someone say that it was kind of like their dream whistle was an O'Riordan, and I saw a Lodi pop up on the Irish Flute Store, and I kind of, it was an impulse purchase, and I thought, well, worst that could happen is I can not like it and I'll send it back. Um, and that's not the worst thing that can happen, because the worst thing that can happen is that I do like it, but I still have to send it back, and that's kind of what that's kind of the situation I find myself in. Like, it was over, after taxes and shipping, it was over $1,800, and which is insane for a whistle. Um, and my thought was that this was going to be a legendary whistle, similar to the Copeland, and I might be able to quickly resell it. I thought there's probably the person that has that's their dream whistle. I thought I'd talk about it a little bit, and they'd come on and say, "Oh, I'd love to have one of those," and then I could maybe give them a little bit of a discount and just sell it to them. But I think 1,800 is too much for me, for the way that I feel about this whistle. 1,800 is too much. And I can't. I basically just put it on my credit card, and with all the Copeland stuff that I've been doing in the whistle making tooling up that I've been getting into. I don't have. I can't just like eat the cost and keep the whistle because I kind of like it. So that's why I'm sending it back. I feel like some of these whistle prices just need to come down to more reasonable levels. Copeland's have been going up, and it's like they really are one of a kind whistles, but it's just getting to the point where, like, you have to be independently wealthy in order to afford some of these whistles. Again, that's another reason I'm trying to make my Copeland, is maybe I can make it at least the design more accessible. So anyway, here is the O'Riordan, and it's got an interesting construction. Like, this looks like a four-piece construction. It's got a brushed finish on this. I think this is aluminum, and I think this is also aluminum, but it could also be Delrin, and I don't really understand. And this could also be Delrin. I'm not 100% sure. My feeling initially was that this was all aluminum and the head was Delrin. But the fact that he has the brushed finish here, and then he's got a shiny finish here, made me feel like possibly this was like a shiny, rigid plastic. I can't really tell much difference between hitting them, but it's possible it's just rigid. So I would still probably say that it's an aluminum body with a Delrin head. And you can see, I'll rotate. I know I can't really focus that close with my phone camera, but the windway itself is very wide at the beginning. Like, it's a massive open windway, and then it does constrict a little bit on the exit, and you can see there's this piece right here is separate. There's a joint right here, and then you've got this part. So right before you hit the windway, there's this little piece right here. So I suspect that there's like some constriction, and maybe he files it down to make it a smooth transition. So maybe it's open to the point. So I was looking at this thinking maybe I could just build one of these. But when I got on there, it seems like O'Riordans at this point are just famous for being hard to find. And I didn't find a lot of people that were like, oh yeah, I just love them. So what I think is good about this whistle, when I got it, well, first of all, I'll say what I was unexpected. I bought this without any idea of how this was going to sound. I just knew that it was supposed to be like kind of a unicorn whistle, on the same level as the Copeland. And I know Mr. O'Riordan, Pat O'Riordan, he passed away in 2019. Joni Madden was a big fan of his work, and by all accounts, he was a great guy. And I feel like I feel like this is it could be a pinnacle whistle for somebody, but it's not for me. Like, so, and that's what I say. Like, what I do a lot of times is I try to find what is good about a whistle and what would make somebody want to purchase the whistle that I'm playing, even if it isn't necessarily the one for me. And make no mistake, if this wasn't an $1,800 whistle, I would definitely keep it, because it's very excellent, and it's unique enough that it really, and there isn't anything else that's exactly like it. But it's not like the Copeland in that no other design comes close. Uh, the Copeland is a conical bore whistle with a powerful low end. It's metal construction, and it just the design. There's nothing else like it in the whistling world. Whereas this one is a cylindrical bore, and it's kind of like, when I think about it. I mean, I guess you could say that the Copeland is kind of similar in that there's a lot of whistles that are somewhat similar. They have the similar characteristics, but nothing combines the same way as the Copeland. Like, you could say the Burke has the big booming bottom end, but in some ways some people might even like the Copeland a little bit better. I mean, the Burke a little bit better than the Copeland. There may be some areas where it feels more refined than the Copeland, but the O'Riordan is similar. Like, it, to me, what struck me initially was that it has a relatively weak bottom end, and it's open and it's full and it's got resonance to it, but it's not something you can really lean into. So I'll play it for you. Oh, let me go. Right up there at the top. So you can hear in the second octave, it's gorgeous. It's got a gorgeous tone. I feel like this plays somewhat like a narrow bore low D, and it favors the second octave, but it's got this nice sparkling tone. Um, just, I am recording, and I have to send this whistle back tomorrow, so this is my last chance to do this. So my daughter is present. She's here with us in the room. So it's a what I one of the things that I really feel like when I was playing this, what the thing that really struck me was I was thinking, you know what, this actually feels like it could be the whistle, the perfect whistle, like the pinnacle whistle for the people that absolutely love their generation soprano D whistles, or generation B flat, I think is more accurate. So there are some people out there that they've gone through they've gone through the entire world of high end whistles, and they just like the generation D is their perfect whistle, and they end up going back to it, and they just love the sound. And if that is you, and if you wish the generation made a low D, but like a fancy low D, then I feel like this is really for you. So let me just kind of play. No, please no. Okay, look, I don't need fingerprints on me. So let me just play. I'm gonna look like I have bruises. You put purple fingerprints on me, little girl. Okay, no more. No more. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause it. Okay, so now I have a heart. All right, so the let me play. So here is my generation B flat. This is just a stock generation B flat, and I know it's not a perfect equivalence because this was like a $15 whistle. This one was $1,800. So here is generation B flat. You can't really push the low note, but if you kind of breathe into it, it's got like really nice resonance. So it's a little rougher, but so you try to push the low D. It's very, very easily broken.
The other one sounds like screaming. Screaming.
My daughter likes the low D sound better. So I'm not saying that this isn't worth more than a generation B flat. I just feel like you got a Delrin head, you have a thin walled body, and so it really is kind of a traditional sound. I mean, it's smoother than a traditional sound. I feel like the generation is a little bit rougher, a little bit wilder. My children are wanting to participate.
Children.
But this really is kind of like I feel almost like
I'm gonna go for a ride in my
okay. I feel like Pat O'Riordan probably took some inspiration as to what a whistle should sound like, what he was going for from the generation whistles, and was really just trying to go for like a nicer version of a generation whistle, like a little bit better on the tuning, a little bit more refined on the tone, and it really is like, again, the easy blowing nature of it. It's not a real thick sound. It's just a shimmery, beautiful tone. Uh, Again, just like the generations, you can't blow them. You can't blow it super hard. It's a lightly playing whistle. So I would say that, like, as I've talked before about peak whistle designs. Do not cut my hair.
I'm not going to cut your hair.
I've talked about peak whistle designs and how, like, you have different peaks, and none of them are unequal to anything. Like, none of them are inherently better than another design, but each peak might be more suitable, or each peak might have its own particular player who appreciates it the most. So for me, the Copeland design really resonates with me because I really like a whistle I can lean into. I like the whistles that I can get the big, powerful low end. That's one of the things I'm looking for in a whistle. But I still don't lose the ability to do the second octave up to a high B. And so I'm looking for a whistle with more power, that you can push it and it rewards you for that. Whereas this one might be, again, for someone who likes that more traditional open, like focusing on tone refinement, but not necessarily like big pushy dynamics, less flute-like, more crisp. I feel like the O'Riordan could very well be the pinnacle whistle for somebody else. Again, I think 1800 is just a lot of money for any whistle. So, I mean, I think they're probably significantly rarer than Copeland's, and that may be what's responsible for the price. But again, I'm making this video so that other people can look at an O'Riordan and say, like, is that worth it to me? Is that my unicorn whistle or my perfect whistle that I have in mind? Because if I'd known what I do now about the O'Riordan, I probably wouldn't have purchased it for that much. So anyway, I hope that is helpful, and I might do another video when my kids are in bed, so that I can play a little bit more on it before I package it up. But that's the O'Riordan, which again is going back in the mail tomorrow. So also it's got like just another note. It's got like some numbers on the tuning slide, and on the back side it says like DB018. So I don't know if that means it was made in 2018, which would put it at a year before Pat O'Riordan died. But anyway, I hope that was helpful, and I hope that maybe somebody is watching this and they go, "Yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Take my money." So I hope that helps. Again, not a knock on the craftsmanship or anything. It really is a great whistle. It just for me personally, it's not. I don't even think I would pay $1,800 for a Copeland. It's too much. I wouldn't pay $1,800 for a Copeland. Copelands need to be less expensive than they are, so I don't want to contribute to the inflation of whistle prices. So anyway, I hope that was helpful.